The Tiny Shutter Podcast, where we talk about iPhone photography and other things. I'm Joseph Ferreira.
I'm Dave Bodner.
I'm Greg McMillan.
I'm Matt Hoffman.
And I'm Marc Sadowski.
Woohoo! Full crowd, and we are on YouTube.
You guys are now officially part of YouTube. We have found a way, after long awaitedness, found a way to merge the audio side and the video side.
Yes.
Although, Greg, you've already had your video on YouTube, so you're already a veteran in this. But yeah, we have found a way to out of all this craziness that's happening in the world. First of all, I wish everybody safety, I guess, in this time of crisis. We are recording in the time of COVID, and we found Zoom, and thank you, Coronavirus.
Yes. Get rid of Skype. Skype was killing.
Skype was dreadful, and it was, I know we tried many times to try to get something that was good so that we could merge the two areas, the audio and the video side, but yeah, this, you know, if God, I like to think of myself as pretty well versed in the internet, and then I've never really heard of Zoom. But
yeah, I didn't either. Well, I'll say this, you know, for those of you listening on the podcast off of iTunes, you know, we're sorry you have to hear us banter on about Zoom and doing the video, but go check us out. But, you know, this is going to add a little more to what we're doing and open up some opportunities. I'd like to see us use this for interviews too. I think this would be really, really good for the Tiny Shutter channel.
absolutely, and we could do so much more. I mean, there was the talk about doing the one-off episodes where I would talk to one of you guys just to kind of go over origin stories, and, you know, something that we could put on both the audio and the visual side, and we can share photos. That was the best part, and I don't know how it's going to come across in the recording, but being able to share the photos that we took by sharing our screens is going to go a long way, and I hope it, knock on wood, it works out. But my microphone is on the wood stand, so I can't knock on it right now.
Well, cool. Let's do this. This is sort of a special episode because just today, actually, let me go ahead and play this. We're going to play our news.
News team, assemble!
Yeah, we gotta start becoming careful now. Now that you guys are on my side of the fence, we gotta worry about a thing called copyright.
Yeah. Well, you know, clips are clips, but, you know, if we have to be careful too. Yeah, there's so many, you know, we can't play songs, we can't, you know, there's stuff that we have to watch out for. But yeah, all right, so a little bit of news, and see here, Greg, why don't you go ahead and take it away? Tell us what happened today.
Well, today Apple, obviously they couldn't have an announcement, and what they've done is they've just quietly dropped the new 2020 version of the iPhone SE, and price point is pretty good, I think. Is it $399 in the US?
Yes.
For the 64 gigabyte version. It just eats me inside because that's like $599 in Canada. It's just crazy, but I digress. Anyway, it looks like a really, really good phone. It's same size as the iPhone 8. It has the guts, if you want to call it, of the iPhone 11 Pro. like the same chipset. And so it's going to have really good battery life because of the way that chipset works. The camera is pretty okay. I've been reading and hearing that it's not as good as the 11 Pro.
Okay.
It's not the same as the 11 Pro. I know
No.
it only has one camera, but that camera isn't even from the same, the standard camera. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this is so new. I really don't know everything about it, but I watched a couple of YouTube videos earlier today about it, and the one guy said something about the camera is okay at best. It's apparently not as good as the 11 Pro camera, but
Let me
I think it's going to
chime
be
in a little bit there because, that's okay. I mean, let's go back. What's furthest back of cameras that worked really, really well on? I want to say is from the 4S on. That's where the cameras really started to have good quality. Now, when somebody says, "Oh, you know what? It's not as good as this," I have to kind of step back and go, "That's not true." May not have the wide angle or may not have the telephoto, but if it's a standard, what is it, 20?
It's the wide angle. It's just
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's the 12
Yeah.
megapixel wide camera. So I think maybe
It's
the
the
guy
same
I
thing.
listened to was maybe the guy I listened to was a little
But
wrong.
does it? Is it the same? Now I didn't look at the details behind it, but is it the same like f-stop? The same?
It's an f1.8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
f1.8
so-
digital zoom
Yeah.
up to 5 times.
What's
It has portrait mode. So
Yeah, it has a single. It has
I mean-
a single port. It's single camera portrait mode with using the neural engine and
Yeah.
the little tricks they did for the XR for the 10R.
but it does not do raw capture according to the spec sheet on the Apple website. So
I'd be
there's that.
I mean, none of the standard iPhone app cameras capture RAW. They can you capture RAW with another app?
Yeah, because we've been able to do RAW for a long time, haven't we?
Right.
I mean, using like
Well, I
Camera
mean,
Plus or
It's
Ally
like the
or something.
ultra wide on the 11 Pro. It can't do RAW. So maybe it's got something to do with. I don't know. Maybe if you load Halide into this thing, maybe it will capture RAW. I don't know.
RAW's
But
overrated.
according to the specs, it's image formats captured, HEIF, and JPEG. So I mean that's all we got to go by until somebody gets their hands on one of these anyway.
Well,
And
easy enough to test out once once we get it. But all right, so we're splitting hairs. Like it only has one camera lens. That's the wide angle lens.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the super wide. It doesn't have the telephoto.
I mean, it's
Right.
basically
And
the same as the 7. Just
yeah,
yeah.
But even though it does have it has very similar processing as the 11. It won't do night mode.
Oh, really? Okay, so that they
That's
took
right.
that out too.
Yeah, it won't do night mode. Yeah,
That's
at
disappointing.
least as far as I understand, it won't do night mode. From
wait,
what
do
I
you
saw.
guys
No,
have
I
night
believe
mode?
you're
Like I
right.
said,
Do you guys
you'll
have?
be the only one that has it, Joe.
Okay. So I did try out the night mode, and I didn't take it outside and try it. I still need to do that. But basically, all it is it's the iPhone's long exposure. You can choose, I think, between you can choose like from 3 to 5 to 7 seconds, and you have to be very still when you do it, because it's what it's doing is it's trying to keep everything, but doing like picture on top of picture on top of picture to try to get all the details. So um, it's not a, it's not the same as a camera where you keep that long exposure with like bulb mode or anything like that.
Right. It's computational photography.
It is.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so it doesn't make sense that they can't do that.
I don't think it's a matter of they can't do it. I just think it's a matter of they won't do it.
Yes.
Because I mean, we're talking about the SE right now, but like I got the iPad Pro with the with the new dual lens, and I gotta say that I was expecting to be able to do night mode with that as well, but no, can't do it, even though it has the processing power of a Ferrari.
Yeah.
But
Now, just to let the listeners know, between last episode and this episode, I did get the 11 Pro in the mail. After my wife baked her phone, we ended up getting some new ones after about 5 years.
oh wait, what happened? Baked her phone? Or...
Yeah, almost.
No, she boiled it in water. She boiled it in water.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, so what happened is that the battery got hot, and she had an external battery pack on it, and that got hot. So the battery within her phone just kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and then it turned off.
Yeah.
And so she handed it to me, and I'm like, holy cow, this sucker's hot. And so I took it, threw it in the fridge, then I had to take it and throw it in the freezer because it was still hot. And it never turned back on. So we ended up getting new phones. She got the 11, and I got the 11 Pro. And so it's been 5 years since we've purchased phones.
All right, so I got to ask this. Now that the SE came out, is your wife regretting the purchase, or are you regretting the purchase?
So when it,
yeah,
yes,
you can return it.
I'm saying no, I don't regret it, because actually, I'll probably have this phone for another 4 or 5 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
But she was thinking, should I have gotten the SE or the 11? And I'm glad she got the 11, because the
You can do night mode on that, right?
What's that?
You could do night mode on the 11, right?
I don't know. I'm going to look.
Yeah,
I'm going to
you
try.
can. Yeah.
Okay.
Camera wise, the only difference between the 11 and the 11 Pro is the lack of telephoto.
Telephone and super wide. Oh no, they both have the super
No, they both have the super wide. Yeah, it's just the telephoto that's missing.
She likes the larger screen, and so she's going to stick with the 11.
6.1. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. You do get the larger screen. So
and actually her screen's bigger than mine. So the 11 is larger than the 11 Pro.
mm-hmm.
The 11
different
Max
dimensions.
is larger. Yeah. So
okay, yeah. I was thinking Max, but yeah.
And I did that's as far as I went with the comparisons. The SE LCD LED screen, or the
LCD
screen. LCD. Jesus.
Retina HD, I guess you can call it.
The 11s are better. I don't know if it's going to be perceptible, but it's going to be better on the 11. So yeah, in the long run, you're going to get more life out of the 11 and the 11 Pro. So that's probably a good move.
yeah, so I don't regret it. I think it was a good move on our part. It's not something, we don't do this every year. So, we're not constantly pouring money down, into Apple's coffers every time a new phone comes out. But, this is, the first time we did it was with the 6S, or no, it was with the 6, because when the 7 came out, they offered a free trade-in.
Yeah.
And so traded for the 7 and actually opted to go for the 256 gig. And so we just paid a little bit extra, and then we had that one for 4 years. And then I upgraded to the 512 gig, and she still has the 256 gig.
I mean, it was time. You probably have been the one most dedicated to their cameras.
Yeah.
You upgraded the least in the grand scheme of things. So
Now I am
good on
missing,
you.
the stylus lens system. That's something that I have on this 7 that I will miss, but I still have my 7 and I can still use it and all that. So it's not a dead phone. It's still kind of it's like a mini iPad right now. But
That's great because you could still do the landscape mode like an iPad.
yeah, yeah. Um, but I do have to talk to Greg about the moment case and possibly getting into moment lens and seeing.
I don't think you're missing much.
Maybe the case. So I may be just getting a new case. I have a cheap $13 case on here that works, but I might jump into a moment case.
Matt and I talked about this sometime last week about our moment experiences. Because I was talking to him about his wife's new iPad Pro. But I think the time of like additional lenses is pretty much done. I'm kind of tired of getting a new lens. It's kind of like, I don't know.
What's that? What's that cinematic lens? Was that moment?
The anamorphic.
The anamorphic.
That's a couple. I wouldn't be surprised if Moment didn't have one, but yeah, all right, that's a pretty significant tool set. So if you're doing any kind of serious cinematography, sure, that's something to pick up. And likewise with the macro lens, I think
Yeah,
having a macro
macros.
lens is, you can mimic something with Camera Plus, but it's not true macro like a lens. But as far as like a wide angle telephoto lens, I don't know. I think
I can
Go on,
easily
Matt.
see when I upgrade, especially if I get an 11 Pro or whatever, and it's got that ultra wide lens, the moment wide angle's probably not going to see the light of day very much.
Right.
And I'm not wanting to turn this into like a crap on moment podcast or something. They're a great company and they make awesome stuff, but I do kind of feel like they're sort of drifting away from still photography and getting more video centric. There just seems to be a lot more focus on that, like that. The anamorphic lens is definitely more of a video tool than a still photography tool. They talk a lot about gimbals and using neutral density filters, to get the shutter speed and everything that you want in your videos. They really focus on video a lot. And as someone who doesn't do a ton of video myself, I feel like they're not really speaking to me anymore. And then on top of that, personally, I've been slightly unhappy. I had the issue with my wide angle that was probably my fault because I lost the lens cap.
Oh,
And
yeah.
even though I kept it in the bag, the coating on the lens was starting to come off, and it was coming off in this weird, like a ring type pattern. And eventually it was noticeable in the pictures that I was shooting. So finally I reached out to Moment and they were cool. And I don't think they gave me a new one, but I got one like real cheap, like a replacement. And that one, I have the lens cap. The lens cap's always on it. It stays in the little bag that it comes in. I don't even use it that much. And the coating is coming off. And I
Really?
just like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with, the telephoto lens for a moment is awesome. That is probably the best quality lens that I think that I've purchased.
I would agree with that. That 100%.
Now the second generation, the first
Yes.
generation suffered massively from, softness at the edges. But the second generation telephoto, super duper awesome. I could see myself possibly still getting a moment case on whatever new phone that I get, so I could still use that telephoto lens. Because every now and then having that, extra reach and have it be optical is something that's, beneficial or desirable or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Mark. I kind of see accessory lenses sort of dying out.
Yeah, and I'm torn on when I upgrade.
Hold on. Greg, you got to unplug and then plug back in. All right. So for those of you that are,
Yeah, you're kind of robot-y. I thought it was your natural voice, but
yeah.
These guys
Well, let me explain to everybody in YouTube land. We have an issue every once in a while. Well, it's usually at an hour, which you did join an hour ago on this Zoom call, but an hour in, Greg usually has to unplug and then plug back in to get rid of the
siloning. I didn't think it was going to be an issue on Zoom. I thought it was a Skype thing, but I guess it must be a USB thing.
Yeah, it's I've noticed it happens on other like podcasts and stuff that I listen to, and they're not using Skype, so it's not a Skype thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's good to know.
So the podcast part, if you follow us, you don't hear it on our podcast because I could go in and chop it out, and then you just never know. But with YouTube, it'll be a different story. So go ahead.
I could chop it off. I just choose not to.
Magic.
Okay, so what I was saying is that when my time comes to upgrade, I'm just planning on getting the iPhone 12 or whatever it's going to be called, and I'm kind of torn on whether to get a case that fits it for my moment lenses, or maybe just sell off my moment stuff and not go down that rabbit hole anymore. But the advantage of using, say, the moment tele on the wide angle camera of an iPhone is that you get the advantage of the better aperture. And Moment's argument for using it on the 11 and the 11 Pro with the ultra wide is the ultra wide can't shoot RAW. It has the aperture's not as good as the wide angle, so you put the wide angle Moment lens over the ultra or over the wide angle camera of the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, and then you get that ultra wide view with a better aperture and the ability to shoot RAW if you want.
All right, so
there's some advantages there, and I'm not sure whether
No. I agree with you in that. And one of the things, I mean, when I was on last time, this is what I was waiting for. I wanted I also wanted the telephoto lens on the iPad Pro, but we didn't get it. And I thought, good enough. I tried the wide angle, and Joe, I don't know if you're having the same issues, but the super wide angle lens on the iPad Pro sucks. I don't like it.
So with the few photos that I've taken with my super wide angle, I'm not thoroughly thrilled that on how it looks.
Can I share my screen? Because
Sure,
I want
ahead.
to show you guys some of the photos, and this is great that we could do this with Zoom. But I'm going to share my desktop, and I'm going to move this aside into this Untitled folder, and then boom. Let's go into this. With the wide angle lens. Now, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. So we have the wide angle. Now, it wasn't a great shot. I mean, I'm just testing it out while I was going for a walk. But you have this detail around that you're just losing,
Yes.
and like this is done with the regular lens,
Yes,
the
that
regular
looks
wide
great.
lens. This looks great. You have the detail in the birch. You have the detail in the distance. You have the detail in the trees. And I think this is also done with the regular wide lens because you have some good detail there. But when you go wide, now this isn't due to the wide lens. This tree was already bending, so that's not an artifact or anything like that. But like you're losing the. I bumped my microphone. You're losing the detail in the trees. Like this loses everything. Things are not that great. Um,
And you know what? It's very problematic because it happens too with lenses that don't normally, like if you get a fisheye lens for your phone, you get the same thing. It's like it can't handle the perimeter parts of the image, and so
but it's
it.
also within the image itself. Like this is another shot. This is
Yeah.
the regular lens, and look, you could see the detail in the grass. That's.
Do you think it's
And
instead of it being a true super wide that they're mimicking the
no,
super
it's a super
wide
wide. It
Are you
just
sure?
it's a
Okay.
crap lens.
Now, it also isn't the super wide a 7 megapixel on the iPad Pro, not a 12?
I don't know. I know the f-stop, like it's not as fast, but just the detail is not there. This one shows it. Like you look at the bark here and look at the grass here, and I mean here it's just all blurred if you're following my mouse. Um, Whereas like this is just sharp as a tack. This is, I mean, this is what I would expect with a Samsung. That's right. Shots fired. Stay down, Samsung. But
I wasn't
I'm
too
sorry.
thrilled with it.
It's a
all right, so here's another one. This is hang on, I'm gonna rub my eyes. I know everybody is screaming at me right now, but I've washed my hands so many times. Um Hang on. I forget which one is this one. This one. Okay. This is the regular wide lens, and you have some bokeh, not great bokeh, but it's some bokeh background, but the detail is nice in the tree bark. And then here, I mean, not that I'm expecting bokeh or anything like that because it's a wide shot, but it's, I don't know, it's just you lose the detail.
Yeah. Well,
I just wanted
I'm gonna
more.
have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep playing with mine, and I'm gonna run a series of tests too to see if I can figure out that super wide angle. Right
Yeah.
now, it's not my favorite choice, and so I guess if you're trying to figure out if you want the Pro or if you want the regular iPhone 11, you might want to just go with the iPhone 11 because isn't it the iPhone 11 has the wide angle and the telephoto?
No, it has wide angle and super wide.
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah. They would have been much
Yeah.
better if they went with the telephoto and the wide angle. Oh well.
I would have to say that the telephoto is not as good as the wide, but it's not as bad as the super wide. So I would still go, if you're trying to make a decision, I'd still go with
The
the
Pro.
the Pro. Yeah. Because I wanted to see, now I don't have the 11 Pro, I have the 10S, but I compared a shot from the telephoto just to see if it lost that kind of detail, and
Yeah.
it didn't. It was fine. I don't
And
know.
I'll compare to the 11 Pro shots with the 7 to give perspective and see what we can get without making any manipulations, but doing side by side comparisons and seeing what they did to the 11 Pro versus what they had done with the 7. It's just as a comparison. I think that would help people too, because we always, it's like you always hear people, oh, it's a better camera, and it's like, no, it's not. It's the same camera, but there's it's same thing goes with the DSLR world. They're like, oh, the newer one's better, and it's like they took awesome pictures with with a 5D, as they would with 5D Mark III.
Yeah, it's a little bit different in the DSLR.
It is a little bit different, but
mostly because we are still using the same lenses.
exactly. So it's whatever's on top of it that you have to.
I'm just saying the argument's different on the DSLR side. Still an argument, but just
An argument.
There's always something to argue about.
But never look at a phone or a camera to say, oh, if I only had that, I would have better pictures. And that's not true. Because if you do crappy photos with a older camera, you're probably going to do crappy photos with a newer camera.
But I was saying that the lens is crappy, so it is taking bad photos. My argument still stands. You just negated my argument. I'm saying no.
No, there is a difference if you do have those artifacts, those flaws in it. Yes, because some of the older ones don't have that super wide option, so it's not comparable.
I think since we all have, we all. Joe, you have new gear. I have new gear. I think we should do a separate episode, kind of like a bonus episode, something for, say, YouTube.
Sure.
We can do kind of like a shoot off and do a comparison, because I would love to see a comparison between what your wide angle lens can do and what my wide angle lens can do, to see if there's still the same.
And I will send you my images to you so you can pull it up on the screen and do a side-by-side comparison with them.
Yeah.
So
sounds good. And yeah, I think it's worth doing a deep dive because again, the wide angle lens on the iPad Pro, love it. It is beautiful. The detail is great.
Yeah.
Everything that I expect from Apple. The wide angle, the super wide, no. I'm very disappointed in that.
And if anybody comes on the show and is watching and thinks that, oh yeah, these guys are Apple lovers, we have a lot of criticism for Apple and what they're doing, and we don't drink the Kool-Aid. We just kind of tell it how it is, and
we don't drink the Kool-Aid because Siri won't let me.
Yes. So, if you're coming on here and you're thinking, oh, it's just about Apple, it happens to be the platform that we chose to take our photos on. And so we don't always have glowing reports, but, we're always hoping that they will improve, or, they may listen to us. Yeah, right.
No, Siri listens. She just doesn't like me. Like, just all right. So I finally upgraded almost everything. I am debating whether I should get a new iPhone, but I refreshed to the new earbuds, the AirPods. Ooh. I still have my 10s, so I have it completely paid off. Got my new iPad, and everything was great until I had to call my dad. I was like, and with the new earpods, I was able to take advantage of the Siri function, because you could just say something to her. So anyway, I did, and all my devices light up, and it's like I'm like, only one of you can actually make the phone call, and the one that decided not to make the phone call
Was your phone?
everybody else was like crying, and then what happens is everything decides to stop working. So now I'm not able to do like when I manually called my dad, it was not able to let me use these.
Oh,
And it was like just this nightmare. I had to power everything else down
Oh.
and then make the phone call just to make it hands free. And I was like,
that is awesome.
so yeah, it's thank
We
you.
need-
It just-
yeah,
it just-
Well, on another episode, we'll have to rehash the Siri issues that you have.
it's legendary, and
It is legendary.
so
Just to put a cap on this whole camera thing on the iPad Pro, Mark, looking on the site here, and the specs are for the wide, it's a 12 megapixel f1.8, and the ultra wide is a 10 megapixel f2.4 with a 125-degree field of view. So
wait, what's the f stop on that again?
2.4?
Yeah, that's mm,
Yeah.
I nothing beats the wide. That's
Yeah.
all they're-
I don't know why they can't put even an f2 on those ultra wides. But I think it's the same for the iPhone 11 Pro. I think it's a 2.4 aperture as well. I think. I'm not sure.
We'll find out. Well, is there anything else that you guys want to bring up before we go to our post pick of the week?
No, I think we'll be playing around with experiences. I mean, I'm griping on the camera, but I got to say that's the only thing that I've had problems with the iPad. The iPad has been great in every other department. It has great fast response time. I am going to start doing a little bit more deep dive into the video editing portion, and being able to use like the mouse and the keyboard. I didn't do the trackpad. I'm not much of a trackpad person, but I do like the mouse functionality.
Nice.
Here's my dilemma.
I think it's worth mentioning on the new iPhone SE that it has the capability to do 4K video up to 60 frames per second. So, and on the front-facing camera, it's 7 megapixel f2.2. It could do 1080 video at 30 frames per second.
You know what?
So,
My complaint's not done yet. I don't. Thank you for reminding me. I don't like the front-facing camera,
Ooh.
but I've never liked the front-facing camera on any iPhone device, iPad device. So that's not
Is that
saying.
because you were in it?
I mean, damn, you're fired, man. You may run the audio podcast, but that's because of my discretion. You know what? Our new host of the podcast, Matt's been pretty quiet. Do you have any opinion, new host? And
I can make that happen. Just say the word.
there you go. But yeah, I'm not attractive, but
well, for what it's worth, it's only a 7 megapixel as well at f2.2.
look, to make me look good, I need to go down to 2. But
You see, you need like the new 16-inch MacBook front-facing camera, the camera off of that.
yeah, pretty much.
It's like a 2 megapixel. It's like a 720 front-facing for both the MacBook Air and the new MacBook 16-inch.
Yeah, it's shit. But
Yeah, I mean, and since everyone's doing video conferencing these days from home for work, that's
not a lot of foresight there.
no. They could have spent just a tidge more money.
just a little bit more. I don't want to. This isn't the tiny MacBook podcast, so we'll let that slide.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. The front facing camera just has this pixelation that I can't get over. It is. I don't know. Do you guys see it on your devices? Am I just?
I've never liked the not only do the colors not look good, but I've never liked the front facing camera. Not once have I gone, hey, that looks great. I'm always critical of it.
There's just something about the clarity that isn't there, and I don't know. So
I always have to turn it around and use the back facing one to do video or take pictures because I don't want to have to fight it.
Yep.
I think you guys are expecting a lot out of a camera lens. It's like the size of a pinhole.
Let's just say if I would say yes, except on the other side of the device, you get better images, which doesn't make any sense.
They're always calling it out, saying, and considering that on the iPad Pro, the front side is the only side that can do the portrait mode. This side, the side that you'd expect to do portrait mode on, doesn't do portrait mode.
Wow.
So that's kind of a, I don't know. That's a pain in the butt. So yeah, those are my only gripes. Everything else is fine. And I can't wait to dig in further. But even that's going to wait because now, what's it called? Final Cut Pro on the Mac has a 90-day free trial due to the COVID-19 outbreak. So I'm playing with that now.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Maybe I'll spend Uncle Sim's money, i.e. my money, on upgrade, or I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So let's
Joe, before you go on, it's like, just to wrap up, I don't think any of us would be looking at the SE as our next phone. In terms of what it would, but let's say, in my case, let's say my dad was looking for a new phone. He takes the occasional photo.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it. He's not a big photographer with his camera. And honestly, for $399 and bumping up to the 128 is only an extra $50.
Yeah.
So, I would suggest, 64 megabytes is
great option.
It is. I mean, especially if you know someone who it'll still take good photos. It's basically the iPhone 8 from a couple of years ago, which took amazing photos back then. It's not going to equal what the 11 can do, but well, I mean, in terms of,
if you have an iPhone,
even if
it's going to be a good upgrade.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, if you have a 6 or 7 and you're like, well, I don't really want to spend either the $7, $8+ $100, or I don't want to make an installment plan, which is going to be $30 to $40 for the next 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But $450 is like, $450. I'm thinking doing the 120, someone going up to the 128, but that's for the phone you're getting and for the internals. People are saying, well, the iPhone is, oh, you have money, you have an iPhone. Well, this is an iPhone, a new iPhone with new interior, the guts itself. Yeah. This isn't going to be underpowered in 2 years. This is going to be a good phone for the next 3 or 4 years for most people in terms of what they need to do with it.
Yeah.
And I would say the average person really has hard time saying, well, this is an iPhone LCD. Not a normal one, but what Apple puts out for an LCD. Yeah. This is the OLED. Here are 2 pictures. Yeah, you can see a difference, but they're not, oh, this is so horrible and this is so great.
Yeah.
So when the iPhone, was it the 5C came out, the perfectly plastic one?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, everyone was like, that's the budget iPhone. They looked at it and said, that's not budget. This is the budget iPhone.
Yeah.
This is the small, which I'm sorry, 4.7 inches for those of us remembering way back when 3.5 was the size.
Right here.
It's a popular phone factor,
Yeah.
size factor.
It's
Yeah,
a good size, yeah. It's considered small because phones have gotten ridiculous, but it's if you got someone who's not heavily into photography and not who needs a smartphone, it's not a bad option, especially for that price.
It's the size is just right. Don't listen to your friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad we talked about the SE and, and sort of what's in there and compared to what is already out. I think it's an awesome choice, and I would highly recommend it. If it would have been a perfect upgrade for me, if for some reason I had to, but it wasn't available when I bought the 11 Pro, but I still like the 11 Pro. I'm going to stick with it. So
I think it's the right choice. I think
so too.
Considering how often you upgrade,
yeah,
you'll have this one for a long time.
Long time. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our post pick of the week.
Post pick of the week.
All right. And I believe Dave had picked this one.
Yep.
So go ahead and take it away.
Yep, and sure. And actually, I'm going to try a share screen here and see if. Oh, hold on. Should have. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. No, I tried to do the share screen and didn't realize I.
Yeah, it's not allowing me to let you share the screen.
Yeah. Well, no, I have it on my end too. It looks like it's.
You have a link?
Yes,
just send me the link.
Okay. Okay, let me throw it in chat here. There we go. So that'll be the link to just. Let's see here. Let me see if it'll.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Let me later and close that out. And okay, so what can you guys see? So in case I don't want to show anything I shouldn't be.
I see all of your porn links.
Oh, darn!
No. Put them back up.
I was trying to
educational
copy this
purpose.
down quick. Yeah.
Yes.
I've never heard of that one.
This is the podcast on what not to do. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we do have Islu here, and she is one of our favorites. She does amazing macro photos, and this is one that she just took or just uploaded a little earlier today or late last night, depending on how the time, but within the day or so. I can't tell what kind of bug this is.
Looks like a lightning bug.
But
it does.
Yeah, and honestly, her stuff's always amazing.
Yeah.
Let me zoom in here even more. So, but just the clarity she has, and I know she uses the DCK thing.
Yep.
Lenses she uses. I don't know if, like I said, with the bokeh, and here she uses the 11 Pro for this. And just how clear, and I just always love the way, I love the way she frames everything. And the red on the bug versus being the only thing that isn't green or black.
Yeah.
It just pops so much.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
Just how everything is. It's just, again, she always, every shot, I don't want to say every shot, but literally every shot she puts up, you can go, if you talk to people who aren't into iPhone photography or just not into it, you can say, hold on a minute. Do you see this right here? This was taken with an iPhone.
Yes.
And they go, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Greg?
Yeah, I really like it. I do like the fact that the bug really stands out because it's a different color. And if you follow her on Instagram, she puts in her stories little videos of how she does these shots. Like, you could just see the camera getting closer and closer and closer to the subject, and then imagine she just snaps the shot. I don't know. She's probably taken quite a few to get the right thing in focus, but I like the bokeh in the background, and I really like the way she's uh, edited this. She used the hashtag after like in the post, so I'm assuming that's the app she used to get this to look the way it does. But I really
And it's
like the
not
way
overly processed, so it looks good.
yeah, it's not. It's actually kind of subdued in nature. It's not too bright, not too brilliant. It's really it's overall kind of dark, but it really works. You can see good detail and texture in both the bug and the leaves of the plants. I really like it.
What are your
Agreed.
thoughts, Matt?
Yeah. Always like you guys like Iflu's macro shots. And again, for me, the color of the bug is just in contrast to the rest of the picture. So it, really makes the subject pop. The image does have a faded look to it, which I like, but I also kind of wonder what this would look like if it was like, maybe a little punchier. I feel like maybe the bug would stand out even more, which
A little
might
more
look cool.
saturation.
Yeah, a little bit. And then I do like um, like the overall the exposure is great, and there's a lot of shadows and stuff in the background, but I do like how the highlights are not really blown out or anything. Like there's a highlight on the leaf towards the lower right, but you could still see all the detail in it and everything. And I don't know, for some reason that just kind of jumped out at me. Like, wow, it's got some really good detail and good dynamic range and stuff. So uh, definitely a cool shot. I really like it, and I always like her pictures. So
Yeah.
good pick.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Mark?
I like it. It is just gorgeous, and you can't see like with the screen presenting, you're not seeing it to the fullest. So I recommend everybody heading over to her Instagram account to see it on your device, because right
Yes.
now, yeah, you had to enlarge it to kind of take it all in, and that kind of lost some of the detail. The detail is so
Right.
much sharper on your iPhone, and it's just simple. She framed it perfectly. I think she added the vignette, which is causing the darkness around the bug. But it's just well done, just a very well done photo, and I really enjoy it.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. And like you said about the saturation, I think it would probably do a little bit better, but it's a great shot. And I'm always amazed when she's able to get bugs inside of her images, because it's like, hey, come on over here, let's jump into this frame. I think I want to do it right here. It's gonna she always tends to, and I think what she does is she carries her camera around with the lens on it, so she's always ready. But
I mean,
that's,
it just clips on pretty easily. I don't.
yeah.
But
But
again, I really look at it on your own device, because I'm
yes,
looking at the difference between what I'm seeing here and on the screen, and it is not worlds different, but it's just different enough to really it enhances more on a smaller device.
yes.
So yeah.
Well, good. Well, congratulations, Ithalu. You are our post pick of the week winner. If you'd like to be chosen as post pick of the week, you have two choices. You can go onto Instagram and use the hashtag TinyShutter, and the weeks that we aren't picking from the weekly photo challenge, we go to Instagram and choose from there. And then the other way is to go onto Facebook and look for our weekly photo challenge. Right now it is water, and it is going until May 7th. So you have time to go on there and add your images. So far there's 8, and this is just from starting this last week. And so we got plenty of time. And I imagine there's a lot of people who are who can do that too. So awesome. Well, does
Well, you know what?
anybody
Let
have?
me stop sharing here so we can get back to everyone's video. There we go.
Does anybody have anything before we sign off? Because I think we might have ourselves a show.
We are in a great spot here. This is what I've wanted to do for a long time.
Yes.
Again, merge the audiences between the audio podcast and the video side, and I think this is a great step where we can regularly update and being able to have a visual component, being able to share the photos that we have talked about on the audio side for ages now. If you want to see what we were talking about as far as and I know it must have been riveting on the audio side listening to me talk about a few photos. You'll be able to see it on the video side. It's something extra. One doesn't exclude the other. You don't have to, if you're used to listening on the audio side, you're not really losing anything. But if you want to see it and see our ugly mugs, there we are, full glory.
Yes.
But
we were
also,
sparing everybody for years, but now good luck.
there you go. But I mean, really, the only good-looking one of us is Matt, and
Matt,
now we
yeah.
get to show him off and profit off of it on YouTube. So get ready for your stardom, man.
You're ridiculous.
Look, I wish I could grow a beard. That's all I got to say.
Well,
Yeah,
cool.
this is the longest it's ever been.
Yeah.
And it's weird, and I can't stop touching it because it's weird.
Now that we're not supposed to touch our faces, I'm constantly touching my face,
Mhm.
and it's like I'm screwed.
And speaking of beards, David, you are without one.
Yeah, when this whole thing started, I don't know why it was one of those. I mean, it's not a matter of me going stir crazy because I do get out at least to go walking most of the time or running almost every day. So it's not. I know some people are truly stuck in their house and can't get out. And a few people I know online who are immunocompromised who are literally stuck in their house.
Yeah.
And that would just have me go crazy. So at least I can get out. But it was partially a matter of it's kind of getting warm. The beard was kind of getting itchy. It was getting way too gray.
Never
that
too,
is
too gray.
yeah, way too gray. I mean, I got enough where I'm having issues with nothing being on top here. So I just figured
Age didn't do this to me. My kids did.
Let's say, imagine if I had kids. Think about that. But
Awesome.
it just something changing.
I hear you, man.
Get bored. I figured, what's the worst case? Worst case scenario, it grows back.
No, worst case scenario, it doesn't.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for doing this. We have been doing every other week, but today was a special event, and we had the time, and we weren't going anywhere, and so we decided to do this on a Wednesday. Normally we do it on a Thursday and then put it out either Friday or Saturday, but we'll get it out. And this is a good opportunity, like Marc said, to be able to branch out and do a little bit more. So I'm very thankful for that. Why don't we go around? Actually, let me play this first. Oh, wrong one. How about
don't play the end music at the end.
Yeah.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Barely. All right. Matt, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Hey, you could check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Flickr, Dayflash, the Artful iPhoneography community, probably somewhere else. M. Hoffman Photo at all those places.
Yes. Dave.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Prof Pod, and the Facebook group is Dave Podner. Occasionally on Dave Flash, and the Artful iPhone Photography also is Prof Pod.
Awesome. Greg.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Macmillan Photo, on Twitter, Macmillan_photo. As everybody knows, I'm the host of the Artful iPhotography community now, and have the podcast going. Just did Mary Walker the other day, and it's been out now. Really good interview with her. And check out my YouTube. I did a video of what it's like around the town I live in right now, which is kind of barren looking and whatnot. It's about a 6-minute video, 6.5 minutes. My YouTube account, I don't know, just look for my name, Greg McMillan, on YouTube. You'll find it probably. Marc, I'd like
You'll
to
find
talk
it in
to you
the
about
notes below.
Yes. And I'd like to talk to you about how maybe we can get it over on the Tiny Shutter channel as well.
Can't. Sorry. No, literally, I can't because you've already posted it.
Oh.
Ooh, automatic
Oh, really?
takedown.
The
automatic takedown.
algorithm.
Yep, it would give an automatic takedown.
Well, I could take it down and you can put it up.
We'll talk, man.
Yeah, we'll talk. Anyway, but yeah, that's about that's the places you can find me anyway.
Awesome.
I'm not used to this video stuff.
Right. All right. See, Marc, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, you could find me here. You can find me on Instagram. I am Marc Sadowski, and that's at Twitter, also Marc Sadowski. How about you, Joe? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Joseph Ferreira. You can find links to our show notes, to our Facebook group, our YouTube channel, and everything else by going to tinyshutter.com.
Skip Dave.
No, he got me.
No? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And everything will be in the notes below as well, if you're
Yes.
watching this on YouTube. So you're good there.
Oh, this is awesome. I love this. All right.
All been
Well,
cooped up too
gentlemen.
long.
Yes.
Barely.
Good show. We train wrecked it at the end. Woohoo!
That's as good as any. Let me end with the
On par. Let's why don't you say good night to everybody?
Good night, everybody.
See you later.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.